The Fallout 3 Remake mod, otherwise known as Fallout 4, the Capital Wasteland project, has recently undergone some changes. Now, unfortunately, this isn't the most positive news in the world, but it also isn't exactly the end of the world either. You guys might remember back earlier in 2018 where this mod project actually stopped production when they found out that they actually couldn't reuse some of the voice or audio files from Fallout 3. Fortunately, this time around, it's nothing quite on that level, but there is something. So in this video, I'm going to discuss a bit about that, but also look at one of the new mod projects that has kind of spurred up around all of this. But hey, if you're somebody that actually never bought Fallout 3 or just never bought it on PC and didn't get to experience some of the great mods for that game, you can actually pick it up right now for just $5 on Green Man Gaming. This is a limited time offer just as a part of their Black Friday sale, which is ending soon. They also have other heavily discounted Bethesda games that you could check out, and if you make a purchase using my affiliate link down below, I do get a bit of a kickback. But there are several really great offerings here, so I would recommend checking it out. But in effect, what we're taking a look at today is a bit of a breakup. A breakup between some of the long-standing members of the Fallout 3 Remake mod and some of the notable members that had significant contributions. And as such, some of the contributions are going one way, while the mod overall is heading in its same old direction, just without certain content. So really, the core focus of this video isn't actually to give you a breakdown on all of this drama or say who's right or who's wrong. There are several public statements from many of the parties involved or just discussions on Discords that I will have linked down below if you want to read them for yourself. And at the crux of this one, if you've been following the development of the Fallout 3 Remake mod or even joined their Discord, you would know it was on the Road to Liberty Discord. And that was kind of the identifier as the team behind this one. So with this split up, Road to Liberty is now a separate team and kind of has their own separate project, while Fallout 4, the Capital Wasteland project, is doing their own thing separately. And now that is just the Fallout 3 Remake mod that you've probably been following over this time. As far as why exactly this happened, a basic rundown is more or less there was some infighting or issues among certain members. There's some changes in leadership that certain people didn't like, as well as aspects about certain members that other people didn't like, and as such, the two groups decided to split somewhat. But as it stands now, there is an agreement that one project won't use the content of the other project. So the vast majority of the work around the Fallout 3 Remake mod will remain. That stuff remains untouched and development is still ongoing. Just over the past week or so, they've actually posted several new teaser images, and you can see some of the current work in progress stuff, some of the cool armors on the way. And separate from this, just recently they had a big roadmap as well as a ton of new content released for Fallout 4 that would later be added to the larger Fallout 4 Capital Wasteland project. All of that stuff, including things like world space, does remain. It's not like they have to start over progress-wise. But separately, some of the things that will no longer be a part of this mod are things like the Chinese stealth suit, as well as the Exo 2 or even Hellfire power armors. These are other existing mods for Fallout 4. They were actually kind of created before the start of this project, but got added to it later as it fit in pretty well. Those are still free mods you can download. I'll have links to all of the ones affected down below, but as far as them appearing in the Fallout 3 Remake mod, that no longer will be the case, at least as it stands now. But also separately, some of the voice work is also no longer going to be applicable. As I mentioned earlier in this video, the mod found out early last year that they wouldn't be able to use the dialogue from Fallout 3. They temporarily stopped working on the mod, but as they made a comeback, they decided that they were going to re-record all of the voice lines. Some of that is already well underway. We saw one example with the Fox mod that recently did release. A subset of that voice work is also parting ways with the larger mod. Although, and this is where things kind of get interesting, it's actually going to turn into its own standalone mod. As following all of this, we also have to get the news that a new work in progress mod coming to Fallout 4 will be Capital Flight from Road to Liberty. This will do a couple of things. Firstly, it'll actually add in several companions into Fallout 4 that originally appeared in Fallout 3. This using some of that previous voice work. Some of the companions mentioned thus far are Jericho, which we actually have a video of. I'll show you a snippet of that in a moment. But other companions such as RL3 and Sharon are planned, and they will appear very similar to their Fallout 3 counterparts, but in Fallout 4's Commonwealth. Although separately, another aspect of this new mod that does sound particularly interesting is that we'll actually follow in the footsteps of the Lone Wanderer. We're going to get the opportunity to actually see parts of Fallout 3 and see what happened since the end of that game. We'll be playing as the typical player character in Fallout 4, that being the sole survivor, and you get to see what happened to some of the world space or region following the events of Project Purity at the end of Fallout 3. Now, this isn't going to be a comprehensive or full-on re-entry into that world space. As of right now, it's described as a few smaller experiences that you can check out and likely to take advantage of Memory Den. Taking a closer look at the example provided of this, of Jericho in Fallout 4, it's pretty great. I'll give you a little sample of some of the dialogue and how it sounds on its own.
If you're heading out, why not come with me?
Yeah, I am. But I'm gonna need 1,000 caps of supplies before I head out with you.
Good memories? You ready to get back out there?
What? Back out where?
And now if you want a side-by-side of this custom voice actor versus the original voice from Fallout 3, here's that.
There ain't much to tell. I used to live out in the wastes. Was a real bastard back then. But I've put all that behind me.
You know, I do miss it sometimes. It's a life of freedom, you know? But come on, I'm a washed-up old raider. What crew is gonna take me on? These kids don't know nothing about respect.
I think it's honestly pretty close, a lot closer than it has any right being. Separately from that, I would actually just say the voice acting overall is well done, even without the comparison of the old to the new. If you just saw this as a character in Fallout 4, I would buy that it's a vanilla or professionally done voice acting, and this does get me excited for this mod. I think the concept behind it is pretty cool. It has a lot of serious potential and a major component with the nostalgia effect. There's also quite a bit of dialogue even just shown in this 2-minute video. Separate from that, some changes that also came to the Fallout 3 Remake mod overall is now they have several new social media pages. Due to the split up, one thing maybe going one way or another, such as their Discord and Twitter, are now different than they were previously. As such, I'm actually going to have links down below to where you can find either of these mods or stay up to date with them. As I mentioned just before, we actually just saw some updates around the Fallout 3 Remake mod that look pretty good. Definitely something to get excited for. It's not like content is stopping on that one as a result of these changes, and in the grand scheme of things, the amount of content that was lost is relatively minimal. There still is quite a bit in the way of work done for this mod already. So speaking overall, although at face value this situation is definitely not a good one, it also does get me excited. I am excited for Capital Flight, which is now on the way and otherwise likely wouldn't have been, but separately the Fallout 3 Remake mod has easily been one of the most active as far as releasing new content you could play already for Fallout 4, so I think these are both projects to really keep a close eye on going into 2020, and I definitely will be doing so. Either way, with all of that being said, hopefully you guys found this informative. If you want to keep up to date again with either of these, links in the description, but as always again, I thank you for watching, and I hope to see you all next time. Later.